Okay, so here we are back with the previous program again, and we got that working quite nicely. We've got it on the buttons, we've got it assigning a value to this variable called this float called price, and it's then pulling that variable in later on when it does the calculation in a single function and spits out some nice numbers at the end. The problem we've got is that although we've made it quite efficient, it can be a little more efficient. So we saved ourselves a lot of lines of code. We've saved ourselves making lots of variables as we went through, but we've still got this variable at the top that's declared all the time, so it's using up memory space even when our program's not doing anything. So what I'd like to do is get rid of that entirely, okay? And we'll have to just call this float just to give it a data type. But it's still going to spit up an error, and the error is that it's now not got price when it comes to running our self-defined function. So it can't find that anywhere because although we've created this float here, it promptly disappears at the end of the void. So we need to find some way of sending that value, that variable, across to this void so it can then use that in its calculation. The way to do that is parameter passing. So what I want to do is I want to add price in here, which says when you run calc_tote, pass it this information called price, pass it this variable, and then in calc_tote I need to give it a way of accepting that variable. So I'm going to say float, and then I can call it whatever I like. If I call it lemon, it will take the value of price and assign it to a variable called lemon. But to keep things simple, I can call it price again, and then I don't have to rewrite loads of my code. So now it's taking the value of price, it's passing it to this void, and this void can then carry out its calculation. So making sure we press the right button, let's run that. 12 cherries cost £6. 11 cherries cost £5.50. So it's doing it by 50p each time, so it's clearly passed that value across. However, I can make this a line more efficient. I can just take this out, and what I'm doing at the moment is passing a reference. I'm saying this variable has this value, so let's move that across. Instead of that, I can just pass the value itself. So let's take that float line out and then simply put 0.5f. So 0.5 stored as a float. This is expecting a float, so it'll accept that value and it should work just fine. So let's try again. 12 cherries are £6, 11 cherries are £5.50, obviously working. So this is parameter passing. You can have more than one parameter, so I can comma separate and put more variables in here, and I could then comma separate and put more arguments in here. So let's say 0.2f and float spaghetti. Why not? Don't name your variables things like spaghetti. And then we'll do, let's do plus spaghetti down here. Let's give it space. So it's now going to pass two values. One is 0.5, which will be stored as price. One is 0.2, which will be stored as spaghetti. It will then do value times price plus spaghetti. So I should expect all my values to go up by 0.2. So let's give that a test and see if they do. So let's do 12 cherries are now £6.20. So it's adding that extra variable on. So you can pass as many variables as you like. You can pass them by reference, or you can pass them by value. So you can put values in, or you can put variable references in. So I could add coffee, say float coffee equals 0.7f, and then I could add coffee on here as well. I need to define it here first, so let's call that float coffee, put 3 f's in, which is always good, and then add on coffee down the bottom. So now I should be getting an odd number out. I'm a bit lost on the math. Whoops, we've got build errors. Semicolon expected. Where have I missed my semicolon? There we go. So we're getting a bit muddled on how much mass is going on now, but I should get an odd number out because I'm adding an odd value on, and indeed you can see there I've got 6.9. So you can pass as many arguments, as many parameters as you like into a function, and it's really handy when you're trying to move big loads of data across from lots of different points. So that just allows us to cut a lot of code and a lot of variables out and just have it all done in this one line instead. Okay, let's leave that there for the moment.